Have you ever achieved something you wanted badly, and days later that feeling was already gone? Like the victory was good, but then you were already looking at the next thing, the next goal. Some call it dissatisfaction, others restlessness. But what if it's neither? What if it's just how some minds work? Something different happens inside people who want everything. It's not about greed or emptiness. It's about how their brain interprets achievement. And maybe you're one of those people, or you know someone like that and never understood why. Today we'll explore this together. No judgments or ready answers, just possibilities. Because when you understand where this hunger comes from, everything changes. Not necessarily the hunger, but how you see yourself for feeling it. Take a deep breath and think with me. You know that moment right after getting something you wanted badly? Could be a work achievement, something personal that finally worked out, anything that made you think about it for weeks. Then the moment comes. You get it. Some people congratulate you. You smile, feel something good. And then what happens now? For some people that stays. They enjoy the moment, feel they achieved something important. But for the ambitious, soon after, the mind is already somewhere else. It's not that the achievement didn't matter, not that you weren't proud, but it's like the brain filed that away and opened a new folder. The good feeling passed, and you're already looking in another direction. And sometimes you even wonder, why am I like this? Why can't I just sit and enjoy what I achieved? Then comes the judgment. You start thinking something's wrong with you, that you're insatiable, that you should be grateful and stop wanting more. But wait, what if it's not about gratitude? What if it's not about happiness? What if the problem isn't you, but how you're trying to understand what you're feeling? Because there's a huge difference between never being satisfied and simply not working like most people. Some minds weren't made to land, they were made to fly. And when you force a mind like that to stay still, it doesn't rest, it suffocates. So maybe the question isn't why you can't stop. Maybe the question is, where does this need to continue come from? And does everyone who wants everything want it for the same reason? Or are there different paths that lead to the same place? Let's start with one possibility. Just one. It's not the answer, it's a path. Some people need to be in motion to feel good, not consciously, but that feeling when you have nothing important to do, when days seem the same, when there's no goal, no challenge, nothing that makes you wake up wanting. Because for some people these moments are peace, it's where they want to be. But for others it's strange, like something's missing. Have you had free days and felt a weird emptiness? Like you should be doing something, like resting was wasting time. There's a type of mind that needs to be doing something to feel good, not consciously, but deep down, very deep down, there's a connection. If I'm moving forward, I'm fine. If I stopped, what's left? And here comes the interesting part. This doesn't come from nowhere. Nobody wakes up one day and decides they'll be like this. So where does it come from? Maybe from a childhood where love came through achievement, where you were only seen when you brought something home, a good grade, a trophy, someone important's approval. And without realizing, you learned that existing wasn't enough. You needed to produce to be noticed. Or maybe it's not that. Maybe you grew up watching someone who stopped and withered, a father who retired and lost the sparkle in his eye, a mother who gave up on dreams and became bitter. And you swore to yourself, even without words, this won't happen to me, I'll never stop. Or maybe you simply feel you were made for more, not from arrogance, but from an internal, almost physical sensation that you have something inside you that needs to come out. And if you don't let it out, it'll rot. Recognize any of these feelings? Or is your story different? Now let's explore another possibility, and this one hurts a bit more. What if back then, when you were small, you learned that what you were simply wasn't enough? Think with me. Do you remember bringing something home and seeing the look of who mattered change? A good grade, an achievement, something that proved you were doing well. And in that moment you were seen. You truly existed. But on other days when you were just you, it seemed nobody really noticed you. Not that they ignored you on purpose, but attention only came when you brought something. And without realizing, your brain recorded something. Being isn't enough. You need to do, you need to achieve. You need to have something to show. Then you grow up and keep doing, keep achieving, keep bringing things. And people around you even find it beautiful. Say you're determined, that you'll go far, that you don't stop. But inside, you don't know anymore if you're doing it because you want to, or because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. Because stopping means going back to being just you. And deep down, well hidden, There's a question you never asked out loud. Am I enough alone? Without achievements? Without results? Without anything to show? Just me. Am I enough? And maybe you never heard the answer you needed. So you keep running, keep building, keep proving. Because while you're achieving something, you don't need to answer that question. But wait, maybe it's not your story. Maybe you're not trying to fill anything. Some people were simply born with a mind that works fast, that sees possibilities where others see limits, that can't be satisfied because it always sees what could be better. Some people aren't running from anything. They just have a mind that doesn't shut off, that processes fast, that connects ideas all the time. And for a mind like that, staying still isn't rest, it's frustration. It's not about trauma, not about emptiness, it's about how the brain was built. It's about having more mental energy than the surrounding life can absorb. So you create, you build, you expand, not because you need to prove, but because that's what happens naturally when a mind like that finds space. Opposite paths, same hunger, different origins. There's one more thing we need to look at, and maybe this is the most hidden of all. How much control do you really have over your life? Think about things that could happen to you tomorrow. How many of them can you decide? How many depend on you? The truth is, most of life we don't control. People change. Situations turn. What was right yesterday can crumble today, and that's scary, very scary. So some people found a way to deal with this. They create, they build, they set goals, make plans, pursue objectives. And while doing this, they feel in control. Because they're in that space, they decide, they choose the next step. They know where they're going. And that calms something very deep. Ambition for some people isn't about wanting more things. It's about creating an island of certainty in an ocean of chaos. It's about having something that depends only on them, something nobody can take, something they can hold when everything around is uncertain. Have you noticed how it's easier to deal with a problem when you have something to do about it? When you can act, when you can solve. But when you can't do anything, when you just have to wait, how do you feel? For some minds, waiting is unbearable. Not because they're impatient, but because waiting means giving up control, and giving up control means becoming vulnerable. So they move, always. Because movement is power. Movement is action. Movement is the feeling that you're still in command. But there's another side to this, another completely different reason. Some people want everything because each achievement is a door that opens. Each new skill is one more option. Each resource they accumulate is a possibility that didn't exist before. They're not trying to control the world. They're trying not to depend on it, not depend on anyone to survive, not depend on a job, not depend on a person, not depend on circumstances. The more you have, the freer you become. The more you know how to do, the less you need to ask. The more you build, the less you can lose. And freedom. Freedom is the opposite of fear. So the question isn't whether you want control or freedom. The question is, which of these forces is moving you? Are you building walls or opening doors? Let's talk about something nobody likes to admit. What happens when you finally stop? Not for a few days, but really, when there's no more goal, no more project, nothing pulling you forward. What appears? Because for some people, when they stop, they find peace, finally can breathe, feel they've come home. But for others, when they stop, something rises. Something that was being muffled by the noise. Could be an old sadness you never processed. Could be a fear you never wanted to face. Could be a loneliness that was always there, but you never stayed in the same place long enough to feel. Movement is noise. And noise covers silence. And in silence, things you avoided your whole life start to speak. So you move again, not because you want to conquer, but because you don't want to hear. And here's the complicated part. You don't always know you're doing this. It's not conscious, not a decision you make every morning. It's automatic. Your body learned that stopping hurts. So it doesn't stop. It finds something else. Another goal, another mountain, another battle, and you call it ambition. And maybe it is, but maybe it's also escape. And the line between the two is thinner than it seems. How do you know the difference? Here's a simple test. When you achieve something, do you celebrate or are you already worried about the next step? When someone compliments you, do you feel it or are you already thinking about what's still missing? When you have a day doing nothing, do you relax or get restless? If the answer is the second option in all, maybe it's not just ambition. Maybe it's something else driving you. And that's okay. It's not about being broken, not about being wrong. But it's about knowing. Because when you know what's moving you, you can choose. You can decide if you keep running because you want to get somewhere, or if you're running because you're afraid of what you find if you stop. And that difference changes everything. But wait, there's one more layer. What if you're not running from anything? What if you simply like the game? Some people don't want everything because they're trying to fill something. They want it because the process of wanting, pursuing, achieving is where they feel alive. It's not about the destination. It's about the path. Not about having. It's about going after. And for a mind like that, achievement is just the sign it's time to choose the next challenge. Not because the previous one didn't matter, but because their life isn't in what they achieve. It's in the act of achieving. Which one are you? The one escaping or the one playing? Now let's talk about the part nobody mentions, the cost. Because every choice has a price, and people who want everything pay a specific price. It's not about money, not about time. It's about presence. Have you been somewhere but your head was elsewhere? Have you been with someone who matters but thinking about what you need to solve later? Have you won something important but couldn't enjoy it because you were already planning the next step? That's the bill. You gain territory, but lose the now. You build the future but sacrifice the present. And for some people it's worth it. For others, they only discover the price when they've already paid too much. Some people reach the mountaintop and realize they left everyone important down below. Some people achieve everything they wanted and realize they don't know who they are without the battle anymore. Some people spend their whole life building and forget to live. And I'm not saying it's wrong, not saying you should stop. I'm saying you need to know what you're choosing, because if you don't know, you're not choosing, you're just reacting. And there's a difference. When you consciously choose to continue, you assume the cost. You look at the price and say, yes, it's worth it to me. But when you just react, when you move because you don't know how to do anything else, you pay the bill without even knowing you signed the contract. And one day you wake up and look around and realize you have everything except what you really wanted. So here's the question that matters. Are you choosing your ambition or is it choosing you? Are you in control of what you want or is what you want controlling you? Because there's a version of ambition that expands you. That makes you grow. That takes you to places you never imagined. And there's a version of ambition that consumes you, that uses you, that turns you into an instrument of your own hunger. The difference between the two isn't in how much you want. It's in who's driving. If you stop moving and feel relief, your ambition was freeing you. If you stop moving and feel panic, your ambition was imprisoning you. And here's what few understand. You can redirect. You can take this same energy, this same hunger, this same force and point it somewhere else. Don't need to kill the ambition. Need to understand it. Need to look at it and ask, why do you exist? What do you really want? And sometimes the answer isn't more achievements. Sometimes the answer is peace. Sometimes the answer is connection. Sometimes the answer is finally feeling enough. And when you understand that, everything changes. The hunger doesn't disappear, but it stops devouring you. So we've arrived here at the end of this journey. And the question that matters now isn't why you want everything anymore. It's what you'll do with that answer. Because after everything we explored, you probably recognized something. Maybe it was one of the possibilities. Maybe it was a piece of each one. Maybe you still don't know for sure. And that's okay. This kind of understanding doesn't come all at once. It arrives little by little, in quiet moments, in reflections you didn't expect to have. But now you have something you didn't have before. You have a map. And a map doesn't tell you where to go, it just shows you where you are. And sometimes knowing where you are is all you needed, because when you understand where your hunger comes from, you stop judging yourself for feeling it. You stop thinking something's wrong with you. You stop trying to fix yourself and start knowing yourself. And knowing isn't about changing, it's about choosing with clarity. If you discovered your ambition comes from never being enough, now you can decide if you still want to live proving something, or if you're ready to believe you're already enough. If you discovered your mind simply works fast and needs challenges, now you can stop forcing yourself to rest like everyone else and create a life that feeds this energy. If you discovered you're seeking control because the world seems chaotic, now you can choose to build security in ways that don't imprison you. If you discovered you're running from something that hurts, now you can decide if you want to keep running or if you're ready to stop and look. And if you discovered you simply love the game, now you can play without guilt, without justifying yourself, without needing approval from those who think you should be satisfied. There's no right answer, no wrong way to be. There's just you, with your story, with your mind, with your hunger. And now you know a bit more about where all this comes from, and maybe that won't change anything in what you do tomorrow, but it changes everything in what you feel about who you are, because people who want everything aren't greedy, not empty, not broken, they're just different. And different doesn't need fixing, needs understanding. So if you're someone who never feels satisfied, if you're someone who always wants more, if you're someone who can't stop, now you know you're not alone. And you're not wrong, you're just trying to understand something most people never needed to question. And that's courage. So take a deep breath and accept who you are, with all the hunger, with all the restlessness, with all the force that moves you, because in the end, the only person who needs to understand you is yourself. Now you understand a bit more about what moves ambitious people. But there's something most don't realize. Something about how this ambition can free you or imprison you, depending on a single choice you make every day. Click the video on screen now. You'll discover the psychological principle that separates those who use ambition as a tool from those who become slaves to it. Click the video on screen now.